Welcome back to my YouTube channel, and today we have an awesome person with us again who cleared NDEB AFK exam without taking any course in his first attempt. Welcome, Deepinder.
Hi everyone. As Sam said, I'm Deepinder, and I'm presently doing DDS in the Dalhousie dentistry along with Sam.
Yes.
So yeah.
So in this video, we are going to ask Deepinder 4 things. First, how did he prepare for NDEB AFK exam without taking any course from back in India, and how did he clear in the first attempt? Second thing I want to ask him is, how did he solve release questions? Release questions is the main crux of the NDEB exam, and how did you manage to solve those release questions by yourself? Did you get any help with your friends or all other questions? Number 3 question is, how did you use technology such as iPad or other kind of text to efficiently study for NDEB AFK exam? This exam is enormous. There is a lot of syllabus, but I know this guy who's super tech savvy, who's super Apple champ, I would say. So I would want to ask him, how did he efficiently study for AFK exam for this NDEB process using technology such as iPad? And last question I want to ask him is, what was your motivation? What kept you going on throughout the study process? When you are back home in any country, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Egypt, there are so many followers that I have here from different countries in the world. You all have a busy schedule at home, a busy life, already a career, something in dentistry, and now you want to move. So what was your motivation to study for AFK, giving so many hours and so much effort towards it? So these are the questions we will answer. Let's have a nice chat with Deepinder right after this intro. So Deepinder, do you have any bachelor's degree, any master's degree? What did you do in India? How was your background? So that everybody get a picture. Like we had a geek named Nikhil in the previous YouTube video, and everybody was asking like, oh, this guy is from AIMS, then we don't want to follow his path. But I am one of the examples who was never too good at dentistry when I was doing my bachelor's in India. How was your experience throughout your BDS and as well as your master's program?
Yeah, so I did my graduation back in 2009, and afterwards I went for post-graduation in 2010, and I was done with that in 2013. And then again went, as I did my master's in oral surgery, I wanted to do some more surgeries. So I went to a hospital, worked as a senior resident in a government hospital for 3 more years. And then afterwards, I also had my own practice. And then I eventually decided to come here to Canada.
Okay. Yeah. What was your motivation? Why would you want to come to Canada? Like, you are doing so great. You have a master's degree and you are oral surgeon and you are doing residency. Then what was like sudden thing? Boom, I want to reset everything. What was the reason?
Like, it was not a sudden thing. At the back of mind, this thought was always there that I had to go, I wanted to go overseas, and I wanted to do DDS, and I wanted to practice dentistry in North America. Okay. The thing is, this plan of mine took time, and there were so many other factors, my family, my personal life and everything. So I had to balance everything out. So that took time. And regarding the motivation, as I said, I always wanted to be here. It is just that it just took me some time before coming here. So back home, when I was in India, I decided to utilize that time in dentistry as much as I can.
So the first question is, how did you actually prepare for NDEB AFK exam without taking any course? In the next question, I'm going to ask you more about release question, like how did you solve the release question? But in general, how was your approach, since like you are a newbie, you just cleared your master's and now you are thinking, oh, I want to give this AFK exam. How did you take your first step towards preparing for AFK exam?
Yeah, so the first step I took was I contacted my friends who had already cleared AFK exam. So I called them, I emailed them, and I took their advice, and they guided me how to approach the exam. They told me what kind of questions I'm looking at, what kind of concepts the NDB is looking in us. Yeah. So that is how they gave me an overall idea. And I also visited NDB website. There is some educational material over their websites available. Other thing I did was I visited Facebook forums and other forums where people discussed this exam, and that's how I got an overall idea how to prepare for it.
Okay, so like if when you go in the Facebook groups, there are like so many Facebook groups right now.
Yeah.
But then I was always confused that whose answer should I follow, because when I was studying new in my first attempt, I failed it. But then I was following a few people who I thought, oh, these guys are the smartest. They are answering every single question. Turned out none of them cleared the AFK and I failed it too. And the answers that I was relying on were not correct. Then how would I know which one is the correct answer?
That's a very good question, Sam. I'm glad you brought it up. So the thing is, as is with everything, half knowledge is very dangerous.
Yeah.
So the thing is, on Facebook forums, on other forums, people speak with all sort of confidence and without any reference at all.
That is so true.
That is without any reference. So the thing in my preparation was, whatever question I am working on, I need to have a reference for that, and that reference has to be a sound reference textbook reference, not any Facebook article, or not this is what I studied in my MDS and this is what we used to do. This might be true, but again, it has to have some scientific background, some scientific backing for your answer. Only then you can be confident that your answer is correct. So coming back to that question, you need to visit the Facebook form to just get an idea, not to prepare. So when we're talking about any question, any subject, and if you don't know anything about it or you lack confidence in that, you need to go back, go to your textbook and read it from there. Only then the answer will be valid. Only then you can be sure that the option you selected is the right option.
So that's great. So you did not follow the answers given on Facebook, and that's something I would insist on, that please just do not blindly accept the answer. If that person is in contact with you, ask them what reference they are using. And would you say that if they find out a reference from their home country, that is valid enough, or it has to be a North American or Canadian reference?
Preferably yes, because there are some concepts which differ. As we say that there are so many ways to skin a cat. The thing is, there's some answers which are readily accepted or more accepted in North America. So yes, if there is some sort of clash, I'll definitely go with the North American reference.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, then let's dive deeper into this question, because the release set, I know that now NDEB is not giving any more release question, but we do have a pile of release question from 2019, 18, 17, 16 and back. So how would somebody start solving those release question? And like, if you are not taking a course, you are in your home country, like spending 4 or 5 hours a day, how would you start working on those?
The first thing is, like as we said, that we have to arrange the release questions, which is fortunately very easy. You can find them very easily on the website or even on the forums. So what my strategy was, so when I collected my released questions, I took every question and dissected it. Like, what is this question really about? What is this question really about? And what are the other options? So with that, some questions answer was really obvious. So okay, so this is the answer. But again, as I said before, we need to have a reference for that. So that is what I think helped me a lot. With every question, I used to consult my textbook, my reference books, and with that, I learned a thing or two more than what I already knew. And plus, I got a reference and I got a scientific backing. So why this answer is correct for this question. So that is how I approached it. Yes, this process took me a lot of time. There are 36,000 questions in one released paper, but trust me, it is worth it. We are preparing for an exam. We need to have some background knowledge for it. It is not that out of this released question, some question will be picked as such. Yeah, so questions will be similar to that. So for to answer that kind of similar questions, we need to know the surrounding area. Like we need to know what the question is all about. So that is why I always recommend going back to our books, looking at the reference books, and consulting them. That is a really good tool. So that is how I solve the release questions.
So that's a cool way that you would not sort it out. I would give you my personal example on this one, Deepinder. When I started with the organized sets, like oral pathology set is different, and then local anesthesia, endodontics. The problem is, after I did all the questions once, I kind of memorized like what's gonna come next. It's so predictable, it's so straightforward that I was feeling like I just know that lichen planus is in this part of the body, then the next question is asking about this part of lichen planus, there is another question. So it was more easier for me to learn that information, and that's not a good thing. If something is too easily coming to you, that means you have to change your way of preparation. And I think when you prepare in random orders, that's when you actually test yourself for the real exam, because the real exam is not going to be one thing, one subject at a time. It's going to be all 24 courses in the whole exam, right?
Yeah, but I guess the way you worked it, that is also a very good way. I'm not contradicting you, but the thing is, like in the initial stages when you are learning about a subject, so maybe it is helpful to arrange all these questions in subject-wise order.
Yeah.
But once you're done with it, I recommend going to the original release questions and opening a random page and start solving these questions, and then you really know so whether that you have really memorized or you really know the answers or not.
That makes sense. Yeah, that's a awesome answer. So let's go deeper into this part, because of course this is what everybody want to know: how to study for NDEB without AFK exam without taking any course. So the release question is the big part of it. How did you actually answer all the release question and studied for this exam while solving the release questions?
So one thing, when I contacted my friends, they asked me to get in touch with the theory part of it, and for that something wonderful is available, that is called Dental Decks.
Yeah.
So I started with Dental Decks. Dental Decks is a huge theoretical material, but it is also very, very helpful, and plus it is really on top of that, it is North American, so so the reference part is covered for that. I started with Dental Decks. But what I would really advise everyone is not to memorize Dental Decks at all in the first go. You just go through it, you just brush your concepts and get a basic understanding of what everything is. Don't try to memorize everything. You will spend months and months, and it will be counterproductive.
Okay.
So what I did was I just went through the Dental Decks and I got a basic idea. Then I went to released questions. With released questions, there are 36,000 questions.
Yeah.
3,600 questions.
3,600
questions in each booklet. I approached each question individually. I dissected it. I decided to think of what this question is really about. What is the background knowledge I need to have, and for that I always consulted a textbook, a reference book along with the question. So with that, I would come to know of the correct answer, and also I would learn a thing or two more about that particular topic. So when another question pops up in the release question or maybe in the exam, I know what the answer is. Okay. So that is how I approach release questions. Sure, this thing takes time, and but the thing is, with this, your preparation is thorough, and you're really sure about your answers. So that is what is really helpful. This exam is about knowledge, yes, but it's also about the confidence. You need to have the confidence in your answer. In the exam, you don't want to be second guessing yourself.
Yeah.
So at that point of time, if you think this is the right answer, this is the right answer for you. So that is how I worked. And other thing is, like this exam is also very much focused on the practical aspect of the dentistry. This exam,
clinical aspects.
Clinical aspects of it. Yeah. So in reference books and textbooks, we get majority the theoretical part, and the practical part is there, but it is somewhat limited. What I believe is. So for that, I used to consult the journals, the JADA, Journal of American Dental Association, and Journal of Canadian Dental Association. With those, they will join the two parts, the theoretical part and the practical part. So what this NDB is trying to assess is the amount of practical experience you have, or how you will deal a particular situation in your practice. Yeah. So these questions regularly pop up in the exam, and the journals also help me.
Makes sense. Yeah, that's an awesome answer. I think we got an overall view of how can someone approach these questions, and how did you like, if I do not have, so the JADA articles are mostly open sources,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So JADA articles are mostly open source. Some CDA articles are mostly open source. So you can all find this information online, and like that's the best way to learn
Yeah.
what exactly they are trying to test you on. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's so much fun so far. Let's ask another fun question, which is something that I specifically wanted to ask Deepinder. How did you use iPad or some other technology to study efficiently for this exam? I see so many students with piles and piles printed NDEB release questions, and they write notes on the paper all the time, and they're like, I have seen some people with piles on their desk like this.
Yeah.
Personally, I know some people have got 100 out of 100 using that kind of approach, but personally, I feel that it's so old school. I think it's gone. Like, you cannot just keep printing stuff. You cannot just do stuff like that. So what was your approach? I just want to ask your perspective. How did you study for exam using technology?
So, for me, iPad is a very versatile and can be very productive if you know how to work it.
Yeah.
So I already had an iPad, and fortunately for us, we have all the release questions available in a PDF format. So I used the PDF format, I transferred it to my iPad, and I started solving them. With that, there are so many softwares available for annotation, like PDF Expert, Goodreader, PDF Viewer, or Adobe Reader. So many options are there. You can use any one you want. Like personally, what I used was a PDF Expert. I'll explain you why. The first thing is I was really used to it. Yes, it is a paid software, but I paid it back in 2015 or 16, and since then I've been using it, and for me it is really worth it. There are other free options available also. You can use any software you like. Why I use PDF Expert was because it has some functionalities which I really like. The first thing is, like, we live in a digital age, and the thing about digital thing is it can go away in a spoof like this, huh?
Yeah.
Like this.
Yeah.
So you always need to back up your data. With PDF Expert, I can sync my data. I use the annotation function in that. So whenever I found a good reference or a good article or anything backing my answer, I used to take a screenshot and attach it right side along to the question. So next time when I'm revising it, I know why this answer is correct, and I also have a specific reference for it. So whenever I'm solving a question, I'll go back to the reference book and I'll see, like, yes, this is the part this question is asking about. So I'll take a screenshot. Like, let me show you. So, like, this is the question, like, I used to study.
Yeah.
Like, this is the question. So this is the answer I have marked, and this is the references that I have attached, and also some helping guides which help me remembering all sort of stuff. So this was how I used to practice, like, what is this question
Which
is
of the
asking
following
about
drugs
is
can be administered to manage pain following the acute onset of migraine? So you were trying to find out all the resources. So you attached one thing from the textbook.
Yeah. So what I've attached is the whole treatment plan of migraine. So what will work and what drugs are used to. So with that, I know the answer and also know something about migraine, how to treat it. So if the NDB decides to ask another question in another way, I know this is the answer.
Yeah.
So that is how I used to study. Like, every question is asking about some part of a topic.
Yeah.
So what I did was I studied the whole topic. So this is what I think helped me a lot. Plus, along with that, when all of this was done, and yes, it takes time, but believe me, it is worth it. It is definitely worth it. So when you're revising, you know this is the right answer. You have your attached references. This thing gives you confidence, and that is really important. Also, when you're solving so many questions, as we said, 3,600 questions in one release question, there will be some repeated questions. So when you go down and you will see that maybe this sort of question was already there. So maybe the question about migraine was already there. Did I solve it or not? It is as easy as a search functionality. I will just turn on the search functionality and will type migraine, and all the questions will pop out. So that is also really helpful when you have so much study material and so much so many references along with it. And this search functionality is a lifesaver, especially in the last part, especially when the exam is really nearby and you need to be super efficient. You just want to read about single topic or a single question. You just want to double check it. The search functionality really comes in handy. And also what I used to use was Google Sheets. There were some questions like on revising, I would come to know that these questions I'm consistently getting wrong. So what I used to do was I will make another set, I'll use Google Sheets and type that question and I'll write an answer in another column.
Okay.
So when I'm revising, I'll write all of these questions in one column and the answer in another column. So when I'm revising, what I'll do is I'll black out the answer column, and with in the next column I'll write the answers. So when I'm checking it, I'll again revert it back to original and compare the answers I have written with the answers which is supposed to be.
Okay.
So with that, it was sort of a very highly efficient, personalized notes for me. So with the, so that in the exam time I know what to reference and what to know.
Just like I used Anki for my final attempt. This is exactly similar thing. You are trying to actively recall what you have learned so far, and you are just trying to test yourself, because that's when it's active recall, when you do not know the answer. Not like release question where you are it's so predictable for you that now you actually remember in some kind of muscle memory that at this part the answer is gonna be C. I just know that the answer is C. But when you actually create something of your own, just like Deepinder created this Google Sheet, or I created the Anki cards, you actually are testing yourself in more active form. So I think that's an amazing tip. There are so many tips that we have been offering in this channel so far. Anki was one, Google Sheets memorization skill is another one. If you like any of these tips and you want me to expand on that or show you in a separate video how to exactly do it, please post a comment in the comment section below, and I would be happy to meet up with Deepinder again and expand on those certain technology parts. But that's awesome. So that I think it was very productive way of learning. How did you keep a track of your time? How did you know that when you are ready, or how long should you give to one topic, or how long should you prepare for certain number of questions only?
I also had an aim in mind. So this is a February exam and I have to appear for it and I need to prepare for that. So that is how I worked. And when I solved all my released questions, I revised them, and then I came to know that yes, I have a working knowledge of the concepts of the NDB question they are asking, and then you will feel confident. And it's absolutely true that you can never be 100% ready. So don't wait for that. So be confident, and when you feel that you are sufficiently ready, you have prepared enough, just go for it.
I think that's a very good tip. Yeah, that's awesome. Which brings me to my last question, which is about motivation. It's a long process, 6 months, 8 months, years. For me, it was like 1 year or more. How do you keep yourself motivated to study for this exam, just to like every day do the same thing while you have a job, while you have family, while you have so many things around you? What was your motivation all this time?
The first motivation was definitely that in my mind I had that I have to be a dentist. I want to become a dentist in North America. So this is my main motivation, my main aim. But apart from that, a person has to look at his or her strengths. So for me, my strengths, my positive was that I am very good with technology.
Okay.
So what I questioned was, I asked myself, what can I do so that I can enjoy working on the technology and at the same time I'm preparing. So iPad was my answer. I love working on iPad, and I love and I love working on iPad, and I have my questions on iPad. So at the same, in one time, I'm working on iPad, I'm preparing for my questions at the same time, and I love using it to the fullest. So as I said, I used to attach references. I used to search for the answers in Google, in other books. I used to attach it. I used to use different colors to keep myself motivated. And the other thing is, we have to do something which is convenient for us. For one person, paper is convenient. For me, technology is convenient. For me, everything is available in this iPad. everything, when I prepared for my exam, everything was in there. My books were in there. Google is there. My Google Sheets are here. So also, if anything happens, God forbid, it broke down or it gets stolen or it gets breakdown, everything is backed up. So I have peace of mind. So that is my main motivation. That is how I used to work. I found something which I really enjoy, and it is productive for me at the same time.
Yeah, that's awesome. So that reminds me, I was giving this exam in Saskatchewan, and the girl who flied with me from Halifax to Saskatchewan, who was trying to give the same AFK exam, her luggage did not arrive in Saskatchewan. And I don't know, she was there 3 days ahead of time. I was there again 2 days ahead of time, but she had so many books, and she was like, I'm failing this exam because I don't have my books anymore. So those are a few tricky things, and it's important to know that you need your backup. You need the backup for everything. And I think personally, I'm a more digitally inclined guy like Deepinder here. So I think technology is a good way to keep a backup of everything rather than textbooks and carrying all those notes with you, and suddenly there's a water flood or something and your notes are gone. So yeah, that's awesome. So the motivation is very important. We all can find something that we enjoy. I like quizzing myself a lot. My way of learning is quizzing myself. I just cannot read something and retain it. I want to quiz myself on it again and again. So that was my way. That's why I enjoyed Anki a lot, because I could just click, okay, done, next, click, done. If I just read something, I would probably doze off or I would think about something else. But when I am actually focusing on thinking, okay, I have to answer this thing, then it makes me more driven towards it. Just like your release question. If you have release question in front of you, you have to answer that question, you feel more driven to study. I think that's amazing information that you shared with us here, Deepinder. That is awesome.
Thank you, Sam.
How would you summarize your entire journey? So you had PR before you started the prep or after you started the prep?
I had my PR. Like first I applied for PR, and fortunately I got my PR really early. And I had my plan before in mind. My profile was already approved. NDEB profile was already approved, and I had plan in my mind, like if my PR arrives, if I get my PR, I am going to appear for this exam, and for this exam I need to work for this many months.
Wow.
So a rough plan was already in place. So that is, I think, to have some sort of plan is really helpful, and it is also really efficient.
Yeah, so those who do not have PR, as I always said, either you should have some kind of visa to visit the country, otherwise it's not worth putting so much effort towards the exam. So if you don't have a PR, I would always say either arrange a study visa, some kind of visa before you even start preparing for this exam, because most of the people have this hard luck that they prepared for the exam, they have the seat, but they never got a chance to travel to Canada or their exam center, and they did not give the exam.
This part is really disheartening and discouraging at the same time. So yes, make some arrangements, have some study visa or PR, and make sure that you can be in Canada for the exam. Yeah, that's the thing.
Awesome. So any final tip that you want to share with your friends?
So the thing is, yes, this journey is a bit long. Yes, it can be a bit hard, but nothing in life that is worth achieving comes easy. So same is with this exam. Yes, just keep on working on it. Be consistent, be persistent, and be determined. Stay positive, stay optimistic, and stay away from naysayers. You will find so many people who will say that no, this exam is really difficult, or NDB has some sort of evil plan that they don't want to pass you. Trust me, that is not the issue. You just have to believe in yourself, stay away from those people, and just keep stay in touch with your peers, with your cohort, and keep a healthy discussion. And at some point of time, there will be any question or some concept where you guys will differ on each other. So at that time, just take a step back, choose whatever is correct for you, and sometimes it is best to sometimes it's best to agree to disagree. So that is my 2 cents on that. So best of luck, guys.
Thank you so much. I hope you learned a thing or two from here. And this is how Deepinder prepared for the NDEB AFK exam without taking any course. If you want any more questions, then please post it in the comment below, and we are happy to answer. So if you have more questions on this, Deepinder would be online with me at Instagram Live on Teach Odontist channel. So if you have not followed already, please click one of the icons here somewhere and you would follow me on Instagram. I would bring Deepinder online and he can answer all your questions related to technology and related to how to prepare for exam without taking any course. I know Nikhil was there who answered a lot of questions and he had some perspective to share. Deepinder has some complete different perspective to share. So whatever you guys can benefit from, take it from here, and I'll see you on the Instagram Live on the dates posted below or on my Instagram channel. But meanwhile, please make sure you share this video with someone you know, someone who's in the same journey, who is trying to get into the AFK and NDEB process. Make sure you like this video, share with a friend, and subscribe to my channel. Bye.